Okay, so for today, we're going to be practicing some pressure sensitivity and marking, as well as possible repercussions if continued pulling. Since we've already been able to get some good practice inside, we want him to be able to execute outside as well, getting him to respond when he starts to pull too tightly on the lead. I will either do a turn when it starts to beep, or if he continues pulling too hard, it'll hit a vibrate setting. That way he just gets that immediate feedback that he's doing something that he shouldn't be doing, and it'll help to redirect his focus off of usually whatever he's interested in, which is just going to be, for the most part, just random smells on the ground. And sometimes with pups too, gets really excited. It'll help to redirect his focus. And all we did to kind of prime this beforehand was him hearing the beep when I was holding the collar inside and coming back to me for a treat. That way he has an understanding of how to get the sensation or the pressures to stop, right? So just refocus and close the gap between himself and the handler. Now we're just doing some real world practice. This will be his first time experiencing everything, so I'm going to try to make it as easy for him as possible by trying to stay close to him, offering him treats and rewards for when he redirects his focus. Right? Good boy. And we're starting off in a pretty normal environment in the neighborhood walk. Eventually we'll move up to more of those social settings where it could be a lot harder for him to focus, and start training and conditioning his responses there, as well as doing some longer range off-leash recall too, with the collar in like a closed fenced-in environment like a dog park. Good boy. He's trying to bite something. Nothing is triggering. Oh, it's because the extra slack from the collar is right by his face. So I'm gonna go ahead and tuck that in underneath him for him. Get it out of the way. There we go. We'll do that. Turn this around. Alright, see if all that helps him out. Okay. Now I gotta untangle his leg from here. No, wait. This will be another reason why a harness is good, because if it's always coming from the back, it doesn't really discourage pulling, but it also helps. So here, good boy, right? So he's starting to pull, activates the pressure, or we can do it manually as well, and then he stops pulling, and that's what I need him to do. Afterwards, I would usually start walking him another way or continue walking, but right now I want him to feel recognized for stopping and redirecting his focus. It's the main thing. Good boy. It's important to do a lot of the prerequisite work for this kind of training beforehand, making sure that the dogs aren't too sensitive to either the tone or the vibrate. Some dogs, that'll be enough to kind of startle them and they'll run away even further, which is exactly the opposite of what you want. So making sure to evaluate and desensitize them if necessary to those situations, and then already starting to build like a good, like I said, positive association to those things. Good boy. And it just reinforces, once again, the entire principle of loose leash walking. He can smell, he can explore, so long as that leash is nice and loose. But then as soon as it hits any kind of pressure, we want him to be able to respond accordingly. I can't hear the tone on it, so I'm just going to make sure that's on. Okay, there we go. He's actually been doing really well just off of leash pressure alone. Good boy. That's another reason why we want to do a lot of the back end work first, so that way it's easier for them to transition, and all these things are external forces to help on top of what they've already, been taught to respond to. And every dog is going to be different. Sometimes you won't even need these things at all, like with Mr. Sage beforehand, getting him to continuously hold focus just by slight leash pressure and some name practice. Good boy. All right. So there he started to pull, and he recognizes that sound right away. Good boy. He's distracted by the delivery truck. Good boy. Come. What this is designed to do is to help redirect focus and interrupt his fixation right there. Good boy. And again, because he was pulling towards the leaves that were flying by. Come here, bud. Come. There we go. Good. So you can see, even just normal distractions in your neighborhood is enough to kind of throw him off what he should or shouldn't be doing sometimes. Good boy. There we go. There we go. So now every time he pulls, he's going to have a more impactful consequence without us having to jerk the leash or anything on him. Good boy. This way. So I'm just letting him kind of make his own failures so that way he can kind of connect what's going on. Good boy. Come. Come. Good boy. So you can see he's triggering it a lot just because he's so excited with everything that's going on. There, he's going to trigger it too. There you go. Good. Good boy. Good. Marlo. Yes, good boy. I'm going to try to get him to refocus. Oh, no. So if he loses focus again and starts pulling, good boy, come. He's going to have that immediate consequence. I was going to say I'm going to try to help him out a little bit by having him regain and maintain focus onto me, but he's just got too much going on in this environment. Come here, bud. Come here. Come. Good boy. Come. And we know that it's at a good level because it's interrupting his train of thought when he's trying to pull towards things that are interesting to him, right? It definitely disrupts that behavior, but now it's going to be important for us to practice him responding appropriately and redirecting his focus back into us. Come. Good boy. Come. Good. Like most pups, they don't understand that pulling is actually a bad thing, right? They're just trying to get to whatever's interesting to them, and that just ends up being what happens when they run out of lead. So it's really important, instead of just correcting them for something that they don't get or understand, taking the time to help teach them what they should and shouldn't do first. Correcting, of course, is going to be important to any form of training towards the end. It's helpful, especially depending on the pups, to have some sort of consequence, but it's not always the best way for every dog to learn something, especially something new when it comes to puppies, or when it comes to older pups. Reconditioning prior behaviors that they were already accustomed to can sometimes be even worse, just because that is what they know as the right thing to do. They've never had any kind of repercussion for it. They've never been taught or incentivized to do anything otherwise. So you really have to take each situation as it comes, just like every pup is going to be their own person, whether it's a rescue or purebred or anything like that. Good boy. And now we're able to walk a little bit more on a loose leash. He's definitely walking a little bit faster than me still, which is understandable. He's very excited out here with the wind and the movement of the leaves and things like that. But now at least he's not pulling with very much force. You know, sometimes the leash is taut. Then he slows down. There you go. He ducks in a little bit. He triggers it. Good boy. Marlo, come. Marlo. Gonna give him a little bit more guidance. I'm not micromanaging him too much right now with anything, because I really want him to get used to the signals coming from the collar. So that way, what we could do is more long range or off leash training and conditioning as well. Good boy. Come. Marlo. 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 There we go. Good. Because he hasn't had that much practice yet, it's also ends up being even more of a distraction for him than anything else, and slowing down his initial responses until we can build up that positive connection. Good boy. So he has to start getting used to the fact that whenever he does pull, no matter the amount of pressure, something else is going to happen. And that's with us not even having to jerk the lead or anything else like that, or change direction. Doesn't replace the kind of training, but it's a good way to supplement it. And sometimes for different families and clients, it can make things a lot easier, because if he gets used to hearing that tone or feeling that vibration and taking his fixation and attention off of whatever he was focused on and looking for us to come back to so it will stop, then we can also do that off leash, with any device. You don't have to kind of yell across a large field, blow a whistle in a crowd, just be able to press a button. Still doesn't, like I said, completely negate the need for regular training. Good boy. As well as his name conditioning, because those kind of things don't run out of batteries. Good boy. Come. Good boy. And just testing him here with the pup that's crossing the street. Yes, good job. Marlo. Yes, good boy. Good. Good job, big guy. Training tools should help us accomplish our goals. It shouldn't be a crutch for them, though. Good boy. Like right now, there's really nothing going on outside of him focusing and healing with me because of the practice. Here, he got distracted, right, because of the sound or because of the smell of the trash can. Come. Good boy. Right? And because he pulled away too quickly, he triggered the beep and vibrate from the collar. Boy, come on. So it's going to be on me more so to just continue to acknowledge and reward the good behavior. And just like with the leash pressure before, he will generate his own repercussions, right? By not focusing, not paying attention, moving too quickly, pulling against the leash pressure, things like that. Even with a device like this, if he acknowledges the leash pressure, then there's no consequence, like right here. Yes, good boy. Yes, good. There you go. So the first time, he ignored it to the point where it started beeping, and then that helped to get his attention. The second time, he was able to react just off of the leash pressure without the beep to reinforce, right? So it just helps with conditioning, especially when you have a device that a lot of people kind of struggle with the most during training is that consistency, right? As soon as their dog starts pulling, there has to be some sort of repercussion or impact or redirect, and that's hard for a lot of people. Good boy. Come. Reconditioning his automatic sit. He did good though. Like I said, it doesn't seem like much in terms of distractions right now, but there's lots of things that we as humans can't see, such as all the smells on the floor, and then you combine that with it being a little bit of a windy day, all the leaves moving around really catches his attention and he wants to play with them. He did really good with the pup there too, so good session overall. I'm going to go ahead and give him a break, work on his boarding mate, and then we'll rinse and repeat a couple more times. Good boy.